Hello folks, this is Lulu speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a double up game I'm doing together with JDP El Grillo. And in this game, we're going to be looking at a KDA team composition. This looks like one of the stronger team compositions in the current version of Teamfight Tactics. We actually are going to be on the first patch released for set 10. The initial release version stuck around for about 2 weeks. And we now have a patch, and this game was played on the first day of that patch. Excuse me. Still have a bit of a cough here that is unavoidable as I'm trying to record this video. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at this throughout the video, talk a little bit about what changed, and just see how this team composition played out. On the initial portal, a whole bunch of people ran to the prismatic one where the first augment is prismatic. We were hoping that would not be an option. Fortunately, it turned out not to be the pick. Instead, everybody gets a 3-cost champion to start, and I have a Lulu here. Wasn't really too sure what exactly I could do with this Lulu, but I was like, well, interesting. A little bit of a different unit to have on your board at the start. And then this initial orb gives me a Nico and an Echo as well. I was like, well, that's pretty interesting as far as a setup here. Nico plus Echo, two of the 4 units that have been very popularly played together in these early game team compositions. Basically, in the release version of TFT, people realized that if you played Nico plus Echo together with Lilia and Kennen, you have this really strong setup that plays into Superfan and also activates a whole bunch of different traits. So I'm going to hold on to these. There's a Lilia in that store, and I'm going to see if I can end up finding a Kennen to help piece that together. Other than that, I'm still not quite sure where I'm going to go. But as you know from the video title, this is going to end up being a KDA game. And in fact, look at this. I'm going to end up getting a KDA headliner Lilia. So that's an easy early direction for my board. I have 3 KDA in, one of them from the Nico, and then 2 from the Lilia because that is her headliner trait. And then I'm also going to see what else I can put in. By the way, Grillo has been finding Kennens in his store. And we were saying, maybe if he finds one more Kennen, he'll be able to just send me a 2-star Kennen, which would be really nice. And I'm going to pick up an Aphelios for him because that's actually going to allow him to play Heartsteel from the beginning of the game, which is a nice time to get that in for that initial round. I actually wouldn't have minded holding on to the Lulu, but I didn't have a chance to play that. Anyway, here I don't really like a lot of these options. I'm looking through these. I was like, these all seem pretty bad. I'm just going to take the Silver Spoon option. And there is a Kennen in my store. By the way, you see that I send the Aphelios over to him. But he actually does hit the 2-star Kennen. And so I'm able to play these 4 units together. And so this is seen as being kind of like the perfect trait synergy for the early game. 3 Superfan. You don't normally get 3 KDA from this, but I have a +1 KDA. So 3 Superfan, 3 KDA, 2 Guardian, 2 Sentinel, 2 True Damage. Ooh, that's pretty good for the start of the game when you only have 4 units in. Now, this initial patch did put some modest nerfs on some of these units. In particular, Kennen was really seen as being by far the strongest 1-cost in the game. So there were some nerfs put on Kennen to make this setup a little bit less strong. But by and large, this initial patch, there's a big offline tournament that's going to be taking place for Teamfight Tactics. And the developers wanted to keep things relatively static. They didn't want to rock the boat too much. So they kept things relatively static. Which means that this Superfans setup is still quite good and probably the best way to open up a game, just in general terms, is an opener like this. Anyway, I even find another Nico here, so that's pretty nice. I have 2 out of 3 Nikos. The goal will be for Nico to be the long-term tank unit that I put my tank items on. But for right now, I'm running those items on Lilia because she's my headliner and she's the one who gets a free item. If you are unfamiliar with the Superfans trait, this is what the trait does. It gives your headliner an additional item, and that's very powerful in the early game. It does fall off in the late game, but it's very powerful in the early game. Superfan 3 is a headliner gets a completed item. Superfans 4, the headliner gets additional health and Omnivamp, and then Superfans 5 is item upgrades to Radiant. Usually people don't try to play Superfan 5. That seems investing a little bit too much in the trait. All of the Superfan units are early game units. You have Kennen and Lilia are 1-cost units. Gnar, who is a 2-cost unit, and who I'm not going to be playing here, and then Nico, who is a 3-cost unit. Generally, it is preferred to be able to remove the Gnar in most of the way that you play this, unless you're playing into like a Pentakill board or a Mosher board, but neither one of those are seen as being kind of in the meta right now, for what that's worth. Elsewhere, though, I also took the I took the uh, Silver Spoon for my first augment that gave me 10 XP. I don't think that that's particularly good, but I didn't like the other options even less. I didn't really like any of them. I think I would have taken the Partial Ascension if it had still been there, but I re-rolled it hoping to get something better, and I did not get something better. In any case, though, I'm going to be building towards KDA. I thought I wanted to play a KDA setup in this game. I had a really good opener to play it based on these units that I have here with the Lilia headliner, plus also having the early Nico. And again, I have 2 out of 3 Nikos. That's pretty nice. So, and then along with the other Superfan units, I do have kind of the pieces you would want to play this. So what I want to do is I want to try to work towards the itemization for what will later be KDA units. The KDA carries being Akali and Ari are the 2 units. They're both 4-cost units, and they both have KDA trait. Although I guess technically Akali can also be played as true damage, which he's going to be played as a KDA unit in this particular game. So I'm going to try to work towards building items for those units later on, and we'll go from there. All right, then I went ahead and sold a Lily on the bench to get to 10 gold, and Grillo and I are both off to a winning start here, both on full win streak, which is really nice. There is a Lily or a Nico on this carousel. I would love to have that. Get that spatula, be spatula and 2-star Nico, but of course that's not there. Spatulas have extremely high priority here in set 10. They are very, very hard to get, although they're much more common in double up than they are in the normal gameplay mode. But they're still pretty rare. You don't see them very often, so they get snapped up right away. And unsurprisingly, you're just not going to get them as 4th pick. I would have enjoyed having the Young and Wild and Free as an option. I would have loved to have taken that. That's the one that gives you the chance to move immediately on the carousel, but that was not an option. In any case, though, I had a belt from the initial minion round. I'm happy to pair that with another belt and go ahead and make a Warmogs. And then I had a tier. I was actually looking to try to take another tier, and then I would have 2 tiers for a blue buff, and then that is one of the best items to put on R8 later on. Blue buff is pretty underutilized here in set 10. There are very few champions that want that, but R8 actually does because her mana costs are very low, and she makes good use of it. Apparently, blue buff is also bugged, and the additional damage bonus that you're supposed to get is not working properly, which is one reason why it's performing pretty badly. But almost everybody in this set wants Spear of Shojin. Ari is one of the very, very few champions that actually does want a blue buff if you can get it on her. Anyway, so there's a case to be made. Don't get a blue buff at all. Just build a Shojin because it's a much more flexible item, and you do better off having the option to flex into more carries, which is probably true. But again, there was a tier on that carousel, and there wasn't a sword on that carousel, so making do with what I've got. All right, Grillo is going to get his first Heartsteel cash out. It's pretty minor. Doesn't really yield all that much, but it certainly doesn't hurt. He ended up getting an Urgot and 1 gold, so it was a 4 gold cash out. Pretty small, but he's on full win streak, and he got 4 additional gold on top of that, so he's going to be pretty rich here. And like me, he actually took the exact same silver augment. He took Silver Spoon as well. So we both got the extra 10 XP at the start of the game, which effectively is just like giving us 10 extra gold. Not as good as 10 extra gold because that would have accelerated our econ more due to the way that the interest mechanic works in this game, but still not bad. It lets us be slightly ahead of the leveling curve in this game, a little bit further ahead than we would be otherwise. And we're continuing to win streak, in part because some of these other boards don't look that strong. This person had a 2-star Nico, but they really have nothing else. They have 4 items sitting on the bench, and they haven't used their champion send, so not the best sign right there. I'm going to end up beating their board pretty easily, and then their partner comes over, but I think I probably could have beaten both boards. In addition to that, Grillo comes over as well, and so we're going to maintain full win streak for both of us, and it turns out to be a perfect stage 2, so that's always nice to get that good start, put some pressure on the lobby, and go from there. Anyway, at the moment, I'm itemizing Seraphine. Seraphine is going to hold onto future Ari items for me, and then maybe I can look to find someone to put future Akali items on as well, but we'll have to see where to go from there. I do have a bit of an interesting question on what unit to put in next. I could put in a unit for, by the way, that's going to make 6 Aphelioses. We thought that maybe Grillo would be able to make Aphelios 3-star. He does have 6 of them already. We figured it was at least worth the effort to try to head in that direction. Anyway, but the next unit I can put in, I can either put in the Kaisa for 5 KDA, or I can put in the Lulu for 3 Spellweaver. And it's a kind of a question as to far as which one of them I want. By the way, there's another Echo that's pretty nice. Now I have 2 out of 3 Nikos and 2 out of 3 Echoes. I also have 2 out of 3 Seraphines as well. One thing I noticed when I was watching this board is it took my board a long time to kill the Krugs. Like, we really don't have much offense here. So I was like, all right, I think I need a little bit more in the way of damage here. I'm definitely going to level here. There's no question about that. So I will go ahead, make an offensive item, Jeweled Gauntlet. As I said, I need more offense here. We'll put that on Seraphine, who's holding Ari items. And then we'll level, and since I need more offense, I will go ahead and put in the Lulu to make 3 Spellweaver. And also technically puts Hyper Pop trait in play. But at Hyper Pop 1, it's not really going to do that much. All right, KDA trait, as I said, the featured trait in this video. Let's go ahead and cover what this trait does for anyone who might be unfamiliar with it. It's one of the big featured vertical traits in the set. KDA, your team gains max health, ability power, and attack damage if they're in a lighted hex. You can see there's these hexes on the board, so you pretty much have to stand on the hexes. And then KDA champs gain double. So it basically gives a whole bunch of different stats. It gives extra health, extra ability power, and extra attack damage. And then KDA champs gain double the benefit. So right now I have KDA 3 in, which is in this patch, 10% max health, 10 AP, 10 AD. Remember, that benefit is doubled for KDA champions, which is most of the units I'm playing right now. Probably the most significant thing is the 10% gets doubled to 20% max health. And that synergizes nicely with the Warmogs that my Lilia has on there. So she has quite a bit of extra health thanks to being a KDA unit, getting those things doubled and getting that benefit. All right. So another silver augment here, and I'm trying to figure out what I want. Unified resistance is not good when you're running a KDA board because you have to stand in the hexes, and it's really hard to stand in the same like horizontal row. So I will just take cybernetic uplink. It's not amazing, but this board so far is mostly a spellcasting board. And it will provide a little bit more additional mana generation to the spellcasting units and any unit that has an item. But cybernetic uplink is always better for spellcasting boards than it is for like attack damage focused boards. This also means I probably want to lean a little bit more towards Ari than I do towards Akali, just due to having this augment. But it is also a silver augment, so it shouldn't dictate what I want to do quite that much. By the way, there's a lot of people in this lobby that are playing Heartsteel, and these boards generally don't look that strong to begin with. Plus, it's like 4 different people are playing Heartsteel, which, you know, is the economic trait that gives no in-combat advantage. So overall, the lobby just doesn't feel very strong at all, at least up until this point in time in the game. So my board is, you know, okay. It's not bad, but it's really just relying on the Lilia to stand up there and tank for the rest of the board, and the fact that I have a whole bunch of traits in. So continues to win. And hopefully I'll just be able to continue this win streak. And the goal is to try to get up to level 8. And then on level 8, we'll try to roll and find a better headliner than Lilia. No offense to Lilia, but she's a 1-cost unit. She's going to get outscaled in this game, and you don't really want to keep her around for the long term. Now, this is actually a pretty big hit. I managed to hit the 2-star Seraphine, and that's what I'm looking for there. That's going to allow me to, you know, star up the unit that's serving as my carry, serving as pretend Ari at the moment. And is going to continue to build these items until I can find an actual Ari. By the way, Grillo has found a Akali. Now, it's a true damage Akali on his board, but if he can send it to me, then it will become a KDA Akali, because that's the trait I'm playing. So I said, yeah, definitely hold on to that unit. Pretty sure I'm going to want to play that unit and go from there. This person I'm up against here is playing a true damage board, and they have managed to make 3-star Yasuo. Yasuo just has the Edge of Night, which is a very good item on him. It's one of his, probably like you want like Edge of Night, and then probably like a Bloodthirster would probably be like his best items. And then other standard melee stuff like Titan's Resolve or Quicksilver Sash would be good. Note that the Edge of Night aggression drop really helped him there. The team was focusing Yasuo, and then he got that aggression drop. So we have to kill the entire rest of the team before we can focus on the Yasuo. But we do ultimately manage to deal with them. And again, these boards are just not putting up much of a threat thus far. We're kind of cruising through this stage of the game. Here's something that's really bad for us, though. When you have last pick on the carousel, you really don't want to see a triple spatula carousel. This is going to add a lot of power to the other teams, and we're pretty clearly not going to get these spatulas because everybody else gets to pick before us. We were thinking maybe this one would be around for Grillo, but no, it does indeed get snapped up. So that's pretty bad RNG. The 3 spatula carousel is like 1% odds to show up on stage on the stage 3 carousel. So very, very low odds for the triple spatula, and a bunch of other teams just got way, way, way more power than we did, which is pretty, as I said, pretty unfortunate right there. Now here in double up mode, again, you do get the gift rounds for your partner. So Grillo's going to have the chance to gift something over to me. I am hoping that this will be a spatula, so I have the chance to make a KDA spatula. It is not. There was not an option available. So I do not have the chance to take a spatula. So I take a Thief's Glove. And I was thinking that my front line was a little bit weaker here. So I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to have time to itemize Echo, but I do want to put an item on him because it not only will make him a lot stronger, especially when he rolls a tank item like that Sunfire Cape. But putting an item on him also activates his Bling bonus for true damage trait, and that's pretty nice. Echo is definitely going to stay on this board because he's a Spellweaver, and he also provides Superfan trait as well. So I'm probably going to stick with the Superfan because these 3 units that are providing it are all quite good. Really, Kennon's the only one that's not doing all that much. And even he's providing Guardian trait for the Nico over there. So I'm pretty happy to stick with the super fans for right now. And if I'm not able to get a spatula, I'll probably just take the best of the other available options. Get the Thief's Glove. That's always going to provide at least some value for Echo. I don't think I'm going to have so many tank items that I can afford to itemize 2 tanks on the front lines. So as a result, we'll put our tank items on Lilia for now. That'll switch over to Nico later, and then Echo will just roll stuff on his Thief's Glove, and that gives us reasonably strong front line. Now for Grillo, I know he was hoping he would also get the option for a spatula, but it's not there, so he's going to have the choice between the completed item anvil, artifact item, and 2 training dummies. And I believe he takes the training dummies, which is nice for me because it's actually not that expensive. All right, now I am also going to get an Ari here. Early Ari, it's 10% odds. It's really nice. So I do have the option to sell the Seraphine and move these items over, but I didn't want to do that just yet. In part, that's because I didn't want to lose the Seraphine. I thought that playing 2-star Seraphine was probably a little bit better than 1-star Ari. And I also would like to get a replacement Seraphine because I do want to play both of these units. They're both KDA and they're both Spellweaver, so I do want them both on the board. But I definitely intend to transfer these items over to Ari later on in the match. And I'm just going to keep my eyes out for a replacement Seraphine and go from there. All right, so this is the end of stage 3. We are still on full win streak. We are really hoping that we can win this and maintain this full win streak into the minion round. This person's board is starting to look a bit better. They're playing an EDM board with Lux over there. So starting to look a bit better, but again, look at their bench. They have, again, 5 items sitting there on their bench unused. They managed to get a Tactician's Crown from double spatulas, but they have so many unused items over there. It definitely feels like they are not as strong as they should be. And in any case, we do manage to win, both of us, and so we're going to be able to run our win streak out to a full 10 rounds. It's going to make both of us very, very rich indeed, which is a good sign here. Grillo is continuing to play rapid fire. He's gotten several Heartsteel cash outs. None of them have been big cash outs, but again, additional money to accelerate his economy is great. And we're both going to try to just push levels and get to a higher position and upgrade into better headliners from there. All right, so what am I going to get here? It looks like I'm going to get some additional tank items. That's pretty nice right there. I'm hoping for 1 more item to put on an Ari, but this stuff doesn't really lead in that card. And then the bow is probably the worst thing that I see. I'll go ahead and make a Bramble Vest right there. The bow is not something that's super useful. By the way, there's the Akali coming over from Grillo. You'll note that it comes over initially as true damage and then transforms into KDA. So that's super nice. I definitely can make use of an Akali over here. Got to be something, probably the next unit I put in at level 8, honestly. By the way, I have perfect synergies in right now. I should mention that. I don't have a single trait that is being unused right now. So I have exactly 7 traits in, and they're all being used with nothing going to waste. That's always very aesthetically pleasing when that happens. By the way, look at this player again. Another person is just not using their stuff. They have again, like 8 items on their bench. I don't even know what they're doing. So, yeah, this is still earlier in the season. Some of these double up matches, not quite as competitive, but they do give us a chance to practice our own builds and get a little bit better at putting these teams together. All right, so it looks like I was going to lose. I was definitely going to beat the initial person, but then with the reinforcing player, I was going to lose the second half of this fight. Fortunately, Grillo comes in, and our boards together are going to be enough to take down that a true damage Yasuo player that was coming in. And then after getting 2 silvers, we get a prismatic. I was like, really don't want a prismatic here. I'm going to go ahead and take talent search right there. And then now we're going to go to level 8 and do our roll down here. So we're going to look for a new headliner. Let's see what we can find there. Karthus. And wow, look at this shop. I'm going to 2-star 3 different units there. That's pretty nice. Sentinel Echo is kind of tempting, but I think I can do better there. Executioner Vex. Well, if I wanted to play heavily into Akali, I could go that direction. No, but then I get a Spellweaver Lulu. I was like, okay, I already have 3 Lulus here. This takes me up to 6 Lulus. Okay, Lulu's a bit more of a support unit than like a frontline damage unit, but okay, we can make this work. That is going to give me a Spellweaver. I mean, it has to be a Spellweaver because Hyper Pop is not. Or no, I guess you can get Hyper Pop Lulu. Hyper Pop is a normal trait. Should have thought. I was thinking for a second you can't get Hyper Pop, but yeah, you can actually get that. So this gives us kind of another carry here. We've got the Lulu. Now it's a bit unfortunate that the Superfan item is being rolled on Lulu. Would probably prefer to have that on Ari, but again, you don't want to be too picky here. This is something that can work. Like, yes, it would be more perfect to get like a KDA, a Kali here, or a KDA Ari or something like that. But this is pretty darn good, and I can definitely take this. And we only need 3 more Lulus to hit Lulu 3 stars, so that feels pretty good. Let me go ahead and take a second here to cover what Lulu's actual champion ability does. So she is a Spellweaver. I have to cover what that trait does in a minute too. But she is a Spellweaver. Her other ability is Hyper Pop. Her ability is called Tastes Like Glitter. Fires a bolt towards the current target. Deals magic damage to the first enemy it passes through, and magic damage to the second. Every third cast, stun the 3 nearest enemies for 1.25 seconds and deal magic damage instead. And her headliner effect is additional ability power. So yeah, she shoots out her glitter lances, and then the third cast is a polymorph. It's listed as a stun, but it's her polymorph from normal League of Legends. So hopefully, especially with Grillo's help, I should be able to make the 3-star Lulu at this point, and we'll have to go from there and see what we can do. So Lulu is not a KDA unit. She does not get the doubled benefit from KDA trait, but she does get the basic benefit from KDA trait. So she is benefiting from that. And she's a useful support unit to have on this board anyway because she's also a Spellweaver. So she's a pretty good fit for this setup. Now I just need to find another Seraphine so I can transfer these items off Seraphine and get them over to Ari. I definitely need to pick up any more Seraphines I might see here. I'm in pretty good position to look to go to level 9. I just want to roll a little bit more so I can maybe try to find 2-star Ari. And if I can do that, and the other thing is I'm on 6 Lulus, so I wouldn't mind rolling a little bit to try to find a couple more Lulus. I think Grillo had found 1 Lulu, so I would just need to find 2 more, and then we'd be in a good position to 3-star this unit. All right, once again, we are the last picks on the carousel. Grillo really wanted to get a Lucian here because he's playing a rapid-fire board. He actually has a rapid-fire, I believe he has a rapid-fire headliner, and I think he's trying to play 6 rapid-fire, if I remember correctly. So he was really hoping that the Lucian would stick around and no one would take that. Fortunately, that's exactly what happens. Probably a mistake for the other team to let that happen. Anyway, I was hoping I could get that cloak. I would not have minded the cloak because that would have allowed me to make a Dragon's Claw for the Nico, and that would give her basically perfect tank items, which I think would be pretty good in this situation. But anyway, that is not a possibility, so I'll take a tier because I have a spellcasting comp here. Diving heavily into the Spellweavers, a little heavier than I thought I would, honestly, at the beginning of this. All right, so I'm finding the Ari. That's good. Now if I can find 1 more Ari, we'll be good to go. There's an Akali. Okay, we have 2 out of 3 Aris, 2 out of 3 Akalis. That's good. Echo, no, and there we go. There's the Ari. Okay, so I hit the 2-star Ari. So now it's time to transfer the items over, right? But wait a minute. I can't really transfer the items over to the Akali, the Ari though. And by the way, I'm going to confuse Ari and Akali like a billion times. I already know it. Because I need Seraphine. I need another replacement Seraphine. Seraphine's giving me KDA and Spellweaver, so I cannot afford to take her out of the board right now. I would drop down to 3 KDA and 3 Spellweaver if I sold her, so I really can't afford to do that. And I'm a little disappointed I was not able to find a replacement Seraphine there. So now I've got the Ari, and I would love to just go level 9 right here. Just econ my way up to level 9, which is what I want to do. But I do think I need to find a replacement Seraphine. By the way, I find another Lulu here. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just roll at the end of the minion round. Grillo has a Lulu as well. So together between us, we have 3-star Lulu here. And by the way, her stats do get quite a bit better when she goes to the 3-star version. So I'm definitely going to have to itemize her. So I'm going to have to continue looking for more AP items because I want to itemize the Lulu and I want to itemize the Ari as well. The blue buff can go on Ari. The blue is actually pretty good on Lulu as well because her mana cost is low. It's only 40, but I don't need both a blue buff and a Shojin on her. She's fine with just one of them. So we'll definitely take that. And then I'm going to need to find a few more items. The Jewel Gauntlet could go on Ari or on Lulu. Probably better on Lulu, honestly, if she's going to have the 3-star bonus. But we'll see what items we get from this final minion round and go from there. Anyway, my front line's been holding up better than I expected in these fights. And then the Spellweavers scale really well with all their repeated spellcasts. They just keep getting more AP and they go from there. Look at this person, by the way. They're on 1 HP, and now they're out of the lobby. They had diamond hands on their bench. They had had like another artifact item on their bench. Pretty wild that they weren't making use of those. Maybe they're just very new to this game and very indecisive. I don't know. Not sure what to say, but they're already out before the end of stage 4, which is pretty early to go out. And another team's on 1 HP. We also were able to extend our win streak throughout the entire stage. So we were able to win streak all the way through stages 2, 3, and 4. And we're still sitting on 100 gold. So again, we've been very rich throughout this game. I was able to do an early roll down on level 8. And then I rolled more gold, which was enough to hit RA 2-star. By the way, 2 swords here is kind of interesting. I'm not sure I really want that. And then another glove. I was like, okay. So what do I do with this? And then, by the way, I just hit the 3-star Lulu. So Grillo doesn't even have to use his send. And there's a Sona in this store as well. I was like, oh my god. Now I just need to find that replacement Seraphine so I can transfer these items. It's like, all right, so come on, Seraphine? Can we find the Seraphine here so I can just sell the current one? I really can't move out of these items until I do that. Seraphine? Come on. Where are you, Seraphine? I just need one of you so I can sell and replace. There's a Lucian, so I'll pick that up for Grillo. And there's a Nico. It's like, I rolled all the way down to 0 gold and I didn't find it. Well, that is not great. And then I've got a couple options here. I was like, well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this, but I definitely need to do something to switch my items around because I still have these very strong caster items on the Seraphine when I don't have anything on Ari and I don't have anything on Lulu. So that's not good. At least we easily beat that other player. So there we go. There's a Seraphine. God bless. That was definitely needed. So we want to keep the Seraphine on the board here. That maintains all of my synergies. And then Grillo is going to give me, he had the gift round. He's able to send me a spatula plus a component anvil. But it turns out that because I took a rod in the last round, I'm able to make KDA emblem. That's fantastic. So this is really nice, and that's going to allow me to take the Akali off the board and then play this Sona, because now I don't need Akali for KDA. I have 5 KDA even without that. So I'll go ahead and put the Sona on the board, and now I can move these items. The blue buff definitely goes on Ari. She's by far the best user of this. I can put one more item on the Lulu. I'll put the Jeweled Gauntlet on the Akali. Or the Ari. Wow, that's really annoying. And then Grillo has another Sona, so I picked that as well. I feel like my board is spiking pretty good here. We still have a component anvil to pull as well. I was like, I'll go ahead and take this rod, and I'll put it on Lulu. She is a 3-star, so now her ability will be able to crit. Now she's getting the full KDA benefit because she has KDA trait. And then we'll put a Spear of Shojin on the Sona, so that's going to help her cast. And then we're going to put the Giant Slayer on the Ari. So there we go. Now we've got a really strong casting setup back here. If there's anything I need to improve now, it's my front line, because my front line's not amazing. And I do wish I'd been able to get one more cloak for the Nico, so that she would have a Dragon's Claw. I do think that would help her out, but she's still hanging in there pretty well. And maybe I'll be able to get a component for her later on down the road or something. Still, I now have 6 Spellweavers, and I'm going to go to 9 and put in another Spellweaver. Either Annie or Gragas. It turns out that Annie is in my store, so I'll just grab her here. Probably better to replace her with Gragas because they need more frontline later on, but we can always do that down the road. So yeah, now we'll go to 9 and we'll put in another Spellweaver, and we'll have 7 Spellweaver in, which should be pretty nice. And normally you have to decide whether you want to play Spellweaver or KDA. In this game, I'm just able to play Spellweaver and KDA, so I can just use both of those traits here. By the way, Grillo did finally lose a round, so we are not going to be able to go the full game without ever losing, which is a bit unfortunate. Would have been nice to have that happen, but does not look like that's going to be the case. Anyway, I am up against the true damage board right here. That Yasuo Edge of Night, really nice for the aggression drop, but Lulu seems to be all over it. So even though Ari gets taken out, Lulu is still hanging in there. When we were on the PvE, the public beta environment, Lulu is actually a really strong carry unit for a brief period of time. And that was not intended by Riot, so they toned her down because they wanted her to not be a strong carry unit. Anyway, it's time for us to pick another item. And I wouldn't have minded a frontline tank item here, but there really wasn't anything that I could take that would be useful. So I'm going to take another Spear of Shojin, and I'll go ahead and put that on Sona so that she will have double Spear of Shojin. I was going to send the Lucian over to Grillo, but he had actually hit the Lucian 2-star on his own, so he did not need me to send that to him. And so now we'll have to figure out something else for the send. Well, anyway, I am also playing Sona on my board, and Sona is a very strong unit in her own right. She is one of the legendary units. She's one of the 5-cost units. and she's one of the most unique units in the set. She has an incredibly long spell description. She has Mixmaster trait, which is a unique trait. It basically means that she can't attack enemies. She can only provide benefits to allies. She does no damage whatsoever, which is pretty interesting. Basically, you choose one of 3 effects. She can either give additional healing and shielding, which, by the way, was super overpowered in the public beta environment. I have a video where I show when that was ludicrously overtuned. Has been greatly nerfed. She also has an ability where she deals damage. And then there's a third one, which gives attack speed to allies. The attack speed is seen to be by far the strongest at the moment. Currently, attack send a beat to an ally, grants Sona, grants them attack speed for 4 seconds. Activists grant all allies attack speed and magic damage on attack for 6 seconds. So the attack speed one is considered to be by far the best at the moment. So that is what I'm using here. It will probably get nerfed down the line. Basically, the developers nerfed the shielding and healing earlier, and they have not nerfed the what do you call it? They have not nerfed the attack speed one just yet. Anyway, Gorilla's board has the 6 rapid fire. And as I said, I'm just trying to econ to level 9. I'm hoping that I can win this round so that I can get the full 20 match win streak. And Sona with double show. Oh, with Sona, you just want her to cast. So things that give her attack speed and things that give her Spears of Shojin tend to be pretty nice there. Anyway, we're cutting through this board pretty easily. And once again, it doesn't feel like these rounds are all that close. We're going to knock them down to 2 HP. Wanted them to be down to 1. If they're down to, it's a huge difference in double up mode whether a team goes down to 1 HP or 2 HP. Because if they go down to 1 HP, then either one of them losing a round ends the game. But on 2 HP, they can actually both lose another round if it's the same round. And they've effectively got another life. So they could get wiped out in the next round, and we'd still have to beat them again. Whereas being on 1 HP, they'd just be just about finished. All right, I'm going to go to level 9 and roll a bit after this round. I should be able to get something good. I'm hoping to find another Sona to just complete the 2-star Sona. And I've got another anvil here, so I'm going to try to get something else for Sona here. All right, so let's go ahead and go to level 9. We have decent money to roll with. We got to put a headliner in, or not headliner. We want to put a unit in for the what do you call it? For the 7 Spellweaver. Annie is the target there. And let's just see what else we can find. There we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted the 2-star Sona. So that's going to be quite nice. 2-star Sona and 3-star. By the way, there's a Ziggs. I would love to get Ziggs on the board, by the way. And it is a question of maybe I should just play the Ziggs over the Annie because is 7 Spellweaver really that great? Not sure. It might be better just to play the Ziggs in all honesty. But I don't have any items for the Ziggs, so maybe that isn't actually that great. All right, in any case, well, I've won 20 rounds in a row. I was hoping that we would just kind of smoothly win this, even though we do have to win 2 more rounds to end the game. But no, actually, no, I'm just getting torn right through in this round. I was like, wait, what? It's very close, but the problem is Sona's the only unit left alive, and Sona can't deal damage. So, it was a close round, but I did end up losing it. I was a little surprised, though. I was like, wait, kind of surprised I lost that round. I got to level 9, and I put in the 7 Spellweaver. I thought that would be a little bit better, honestly. I guess it wasn't as impressive as I thought. If you're curious about what the Spellweaver does, this is a trait that gives ability power. Spellweaver, the trait, your team gains a flat 15 ability power. That's true at all ranks. Spellweavers gain more plus extra ability power whenever a Spellweaver casts an ability. Right now, the Spellweaver 5 is 35 AP and then plus 1 AP per cast, whereas Spellweaver 7 is 60 AP and plus 2 AP per cast. So it is a big jump to go from 5 Spellweaver to 7. Not just because it pretty much doubles the benefit from 35 to 60 AP, but you also get 2 AP per cast instead of 1 AP per cast. Anyway, I'm up against the true damage board right now, and once again, I'm just kind of getting cut right through by this team, which is a bit unfortunate. I mean, I guess that round's closer. I guess it is actually pretty close. There are a whole bunch of people on almost no health there, but I still lost the round, and I was like, geez, okay. I kind of thought that my board would be a little better than this. By the way, there's a Bruiser Alawi in the store, but in order to play that, I would have to sell my Lulu. I really don't want to sell a 3-star Lulu. That feels pretty good. But and there's another Ari in the store, so I'll go ahead and pick this up. I'm actually on 5 Aris, so don't look now, but I'm actually not that far off of Ari. And then, what's this? There's an Ari headliner. That actually would get me to 8 Aris. Now, I don't have enough gold to buy this, but I'm going to lock my store. I was like, oh my god. If there's an Ari on Carousel, I can just grab the Ari on Carousel, and that's 9 Aris. Um, this is actually pushing up against the limits of what you can do with the whole headliner mechanic to begin with. You can only see a headliner for a champ in a shop if you only have 5 copies. I currently have 5 Aries, so I like the maximum amount of Aries that it's even possible to have here in the shop. By the way, and this time I win this round very easily. It's like not even close, so I'm not sure what was different about that round. Anyway, is there an Ari on this carousel? Oh my god, there is an Ari on this carousel. Do not take that Ari. That is an Ari 3-star for me. So if I can just get over there and oh, they took the Ari. Womp womp. Ah boy. And I wasn't sure what to take on this carousel. What I really should have taken was the cloak. The cloak would have allowed me to finish that Dragon's Claw on Nico. But I really didn't have anything to put on. I really didn't know what else I wanted. I just decided I'll lock again for the Ari. Now, I could purchase this Ari here, and that would give me 8 Aris. The problem is, that's only 8. It's not 9. And I really don't want to sell a 3-star Lulu if I'm only going to be on 8 out of 9 Ari. So I figured I'll just sit here, lock the shop right now. If we go to like stage 7 and I have like way more gold to roll with, then maybe I'll look to buy that. But we did just win the last round, so maybe that'll be sufficient. I don't know. I was thinking here about maybe moving out of super fans and try so that I could play the Ziggs, but I was a little hesitant to do that at the end of the match. Like, I wasn't quite sure if that was the right thing to do or not, so I decided I would just wait and hold. Now, remember how there were those 2 rounds where, like, I lost and it was, like, surprising that I lost? Look at this round. I just easily crushed this board. It's not even remotely close, so I'm not sure what happened on, like, those 2 rounds where I lost, but, like, I won very easily on these last 2 rounds here, so I don't know. I don't know if something was buggy or something was off or what was going on there. But, I mean, like, that round, I tore through the true damage board, and I really thought that my board was much stronger than that true damage board. So I don't really know why I lost and lost somewhat convincingly in that one round. I'll have to go back and watch this in more detail, but I wouldn't be surprised if something buggy had happened, because double up mode is riddled with bugs. Even though we really enjoy the game, as I could say, it's buggy. But, like, that true damage board was not so amazing. I think that my board was a lot better, and I'm not surprised that I kind of cruised through there. Well, anyway, a good example of a KDA board. Again, I was 1 off the RA 3-star. That would have been fun. We'll probably hit it at some point later in the set, but was not to be in this one. Until next time, though, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, take care, folks. See you again soon.